right, welcome back to the Morning Run. Like we had told you a little bit earlier, we have a very special guest joining us now here in studio as we turn our attention to UFC. We're going to do a little bit of recapping of UFC 211 and look ahead to UFC 212. UFC legend Frankie Edgar joins us right now in studio. Hey, Frankie, nice to see you.
Yeah, good to be here.
So I want to talk a little bit about the last time you were here because you came in and you were like, I'm going to take care of Yair Rodriguez. It's not going to be an issue. Don't worry about it. And you had this confidence and you went in and did just that. How do you feel coming out of it, and how were you so sure that that was going to be the game plan and you were going to complete that game plan?
Yeah, I feel good. I came out of the fight with no injuries, so I'm back in the gym already, which is always a plus.
Wow.
Yeah, you always have to have that confidence going into a fight. We just thought we were a bad matchup for Yair, and everything we went over and, planning for it kind of came to light and was able to execute during the fight night.
At what point in the cage did you say, I've got him, he's really hurt? I mean, I know his eye started to swell up and you got an elbow in there, but at what point did you know this is over at this point pretty much?
I think in the first round, somewhere through there, I was, dominating pretty good. I felt, as long as I was able to kind of get it to that position, I think I was going to be able to stop it sooner or later.
He said he was using this fight as a stepping stone, and you said, well, I kind of understand that because in my career, I've been in that situation before. What do you say to him now that going into that fight, that was his mentality?
Yeah, I mean, again, he's a fighter too, and he has to kind of approach it that way. But sometimes you got to be careful what you ask for, because you might get it, and that's kind of what happened in that case.
Yeah, interesting situation there when the cut started opening up and his eye started swelling up. Did you know that the doctor was going to stop the fight at that point?
I didn't. I seen them, taking some time in between the rounds, and then I seen the ref wave it off, and then they were saying, I don't know, my corner came running in and was excited, and the ref's like, hold up, so they didn't think they were going to stop it. So finally they stopped it, and yeah, I was happy.
Did anything surprise you coming out of that fight?
Not really. I kind of go in there and try to just execute what I want, what we plan, and that worked nicely. And my coaches always have me prepared no matter what, and thankful for them, we got another W.
Can you take anything from a fight like that because you were so dominant and it was such a decisive victory for you? Is there anything to be learned from a fight like that to apply moving forward?
Absolutely. I think just the whole lead up to the fight, I was pretty calm. I've been doing this for a long time, but I seem to get more and more comfortable and more used to the process. So I think every time you get a rep in, it's just better for the future. You
said there are levels to this. When you were spoken to after the fight, what did you mean by that, specifically about this match?
Yeah, there's definitely different steps you got to get, you got to go through in order to get to the top, and I just don't think Yair was, ready for the level of some of my capabilities. Mm-hmm. He's only 24, he's gonna have a bright future ahead of him, but not quite yet.
All right, you said you're back in the gym already, which is fantastic, and the fact that you came out of that fight without any injuries is obviously the goal. What's next for you moving forward?
Yeah, I don't know. I know Holloway and Aldo are fighting next Saturday.
Right.
I think I'm definitely the #1 contender in that weight class, so I should get the winner. I've been in this position before, so really don't know what's going to happen. But ideally, I think if Holloway wins, me and him getting matched up would be the right thing to do.
So are you leaning towards rooting for Holloway to win this fight? I know you said last time when you were on the show that you're not picking somebody to win, but let's be honest, you have a stronger title shot if Holloway wins.
Yeah, that probably is the case. If Holloway does win, I think it makes more sense. But again, those guys got to figure it out. Sometimes we want something so bad it doesn't work out. So I'm not trying to, give anybody the voodoo to take a loss or anything.
Okay. When the actual fight is decided, when that is the case, either Jose Aldo or Max Holloway, will you speak out there at that point and say, this is a fight that I really want, or will you wait and make sure UFC makes the decision? How will you approach it?
I'll definitely bug Dana and everyone else at the UFC that that's the fight that I want, and that's the fight I think I should get. But again, I've been in this position before where you've been told you're going to get something and it doesn't turn out that way. So again, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, hoping for the best. But we'll see what happens.
Would you feel comfortable in your career walking away from the octagon eventually down the road without ever having fought Jose Aldo again? Or is that something that you really need in order to feel complete with your career?
I don't know. I don't really dwell on opponents too much. Of course, you always want a chance to kind of right a wrong and get some revenge back on them. And if that ever arises, I'll jump all over it. But, I won't lose sleep if not.
if you do face him, what would be your approach at that point? Because you've seen him a couple times already. It hasn't gone your way. How does the approach change if you were to be matched up?
You have to be a little more tactical. In the last fight, I kind of laid an egg. I wasn't my best performance. The first fight we had, I still thought I won 3-2. But this last one, he had a better game plan. Kind of stayed a little safer, and I kind of was in a straight line. Maybe a little more tactical this time around.
How often do you sit back and look at the overall accomplishments in your career? Because some of the biggest names in UFC have fought in the sport for a decade, but towards the tail end of the decade for them, they weren't necessarily as successful. Guys like Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, Anderson Silva, I mean, you look at their records at the end, and they had a couple of L's. You just keep winning, and you've been in this sport. You debuted back in 2007, and you keep being dominant. At what point do you realize, I might be the guy who can take over in terms of what it means for me to be in this sport?
Yeah, I don't really try to look back too much. I think I'll save that for the end, when I'm completely done and I'm sitting with my kids and telling them stories, stuff like that. But I just want to look ahead. I think when you look back, you start, losing a little step. And, I think the reason I've been on this, high level for 10 years is because I'm constantly in the gym, constantly working to get better. And I'm still doing that. I still feel young. I still feel hungry. I don't dread, waking up and going to the gym in the morning. So it's still fun to me right now.
It's funny because a lot of athletes say when they do have that feeling, when they dread getting up and going to the gym, or when they dread, routine batting practice, showing up at the ballpark on a day in and day out basis, that's when they know that it's time to retire. You haven't had that feeling once in your career?
No, not at all. I mean, there's definitely days where I'm tired and I'm like, I don't want to go run these hills, but that's just because I'm beat up and tired. But I love what I do. I don't want to get a real job, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, believe me, I don't want to get a real job either. I haven't felt like I've worked a day in my life. It's been fantastic. When I mention these other names in UFC, like the Tito Ortizes and the Chuck Liddells, can you rank yourself among these other UFC legends, or is that something that you're not even thinking about right now?
That's for media and press and fans to do, not for me. I don't worry about that stuff. Again, I just worry about trying to accomplish my goals.
Do you feel like you're underrated?
I don't know. A lot of people seem to say that, in social media, say, you're an underrated fighter. But, the people that know me and care about me, my teammates, I'm not underrated to them, so that's all that matters.
Okay, let's talk about some UFC headlines, because after UFC 211, a lot of people were saying that Stipe Miocic is UFC's greatest heavyweight of all time. Do you agree with that?
I think he has the potential to be. Heavyweight is kind of always a quick turnaround. Those big guys, they throw punches, man, someone's going to get knocked out. But I think he definitely has the possibility to be the greatest heavyweight, of all time. A couple more wins, and that probably notch it for him.
What do you think he does well?
I think he's got very heavy hands. He moves light on his feet for a heavyweight, and he has that wrestling, which a lot of people hadn't seen, but he's a very good wrestler too.
All right, then as we look at Stipe here and the fact that he dominates, it's really impressive, and that he will be in that conversation eventually. Whether he dominates that conversation right now is a different story. But if you look over at the women's division, people are having, Joanna Champion as an early front runner for one of the best women to ever fight in the UFC. Do you agree with that?
I mean, yeah, she kind of goes out there and delivers every time. She's super fun to watch. She throws millions of punches around. And she's kind of getting the job done.
What to you impresses you the most when you watch her fight?
I just think her tenacity and the fact that she's just full go the whole five-minute rounds. There's no slowing down for her. She looks the same in the first round as she does in the fifth round.
She's got fantastic jabs. It's really fun to watch. And then she's got these crazy head kicks. I mean, she can switch up on you no matter what you're coming at her with. So that's really fun to watch. I want to ask, I know we always talk about Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, but your head coach, Mark Henry, specifically said that there was a chance that Conor could last at least for, the early rounds fighting against Floyd if they stepped into the boxing ring together. Do you agree with Mark?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think Conor has a puncher's chance for sure. I kind of put it like this: if I had to bet all my money on somebody, I'm going to bet on Floyd. But I'm probably going to bet some money on McGregor because he's going to be a big dog and he's got a shot. Everyone's got a shot.
I mean, think about it. He's younger. He's a southpaw. He's got that speed and that quickness. What would you see as a strength that Conor would have in this fight?
I think the size and length. He's definitely a much bigger guy than Mayweather. Mayweather's he's fought some big guys, but I don't think anybody like McGregor. But again, this is Mayweather's world, and he's probably the best boxer of our generation, and maybe the best defensive boxer ever. So it's a big mountain to climb for McGregor, but yeah, I mean, he's definitely has a puncher's chance.
All right, coming up, looking ahead to UFC 212, what are you excited to see?
I'm excited to see, obviously, the Holloway and Aldo match because the implications it has for myself. But even more than that, I just want to see my teammate Marlon Moraes. He's making his UFC debut.
What does Marlon do well? What, you guys train together? You guys are teammates. What have you seen so far that it's a strength that we should look out for?
I mean, his stand-up is some of the best in the world. His speed and his athleticism is second to none. And a lot of people don't know, but his wrestling defense and offense is very, very good. His jiu-jitsu is very good. So I think people, are going to really become fan. He's going to be a fan favorite, Marlon. He brings it. He's a flashy style. Can throw head kicks, spinning kicks. He's fun to watch.
Oh, nice. That'll be fun to look forward to for UFC 212. All right, Frankie, thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. Congratulations on your win at UFC 211, and we'll look forward to whatever the outcome is from UFC 212, and hopefully you get what you're looking for in that match.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.